Our first keynote speaker is Kaitlin Sandeno. Kaitlin is a two-time Olympian, four-time Olympic medalist. She competed in the 2000-2004 Olympic Games for the United States of America. She's a world champion, former world record holder. Outside of the pool, she is the national spokesperson for the Jesse Reese Foundation. She's a motivational speaker, coach, sports commentator, and host for world-class sporting events all over. Kaitlin is also the general manager of the DC Trident, a professional swim team in the International Swim League, making her one of the first female general managers in the history of professional sports in the United States. On top of that, Kaitlin is an entrepreneur and an author. She just launched her book, Golden Glow, Achieving Gold in the Pool, just last year. In fact, I'm so lucky to have a signed copy with me right here. She's done it all. Joining us from Newport Beach, California, is my great honor to introduce Kaitlin Sandeno to the World Swim Gala.
Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here. What an absolute honor to be part of the world's first ever World Swim Gala, and alongside legend Rowdy Gaines. I'm just absolutely honored to be here and to see everybody, where everybody's tuning in from, literally bringing people across the globe together, especially in this challenging time. It's just so amazing. In this time of uncertainty and things that are very much out of our control, I wanted to share a quick story about my first competition at the Olympics in 2000. I made my first Olympic team when I was 17 years old. I had just finished my junior year of high school and was getting ready for my senior year of high school. And at the Olympic trials in 2000, I placed first in the 400 IM. So that was my ticket to Australia. And it was just a surreal moment that I'll never forget. But it was a moment that was full of so many emotions, and everything happened so quickly that I almost forgot to kind of take it in and just kind of take a deep breath and really think about what I had just accomplished, especially at such a young age. And everything just is like it's a whirlwind. You just go to media and you go to drug testing, and then you try to see your parents, and it's just so full of emotion that you kind of forget to just kind of take a step back and realize what you just accomplished. So when I got down to Sydney, Australia, my goodness, swimming in Australia is huge. We're all the Australians out there. Let me see it. You guys love your swimming, and it is such an honor to be a part of that culture where they embrace and love and support their swimming. It's like their number one sport out there. And when we got out there, it was Team USA versus Australia. It was this huge rival, huge competition. And there was so much, almost celebrity status that went with it, being a swimmer out there, that we're not still used to here. And I found myself starting to get a little wrapped up in all the excitement and all the outside noise, if you will. Every time I swam, I just had a blast. I loved to race. That's why I swam. And I didn't really think about places. I didn't even really think about, I had time goals, but it was more like, I was just in there to race. Like, no matter who you are, what event it is, what day it is, I wanted to race. So leading up to the 400 IM in Australia, I started hearing people talking about, oh, Kaitlin, she's going to win a medal. And it's the first event on the first day, and she's going to be the first U.S. medal. And I was like, oh man, like, people are already saying that I'm going to win an Olympic gold medal or an Olympic medal. And then people started saying, oh, and she's going to win gold. I was like, I'm a favorite? Like, this is crazy. So I had this already preconceived notion in my head where it's like, okay, you haven't even swam yet, and people think you're going to win an Olympic gold medal. So when I was getting ready for the race, I had like a different voice in my head that was really concerned about the medal. We live in a society that's all about winning a medal, not just being grateful that you're there. Take it in that you made the Olympics. I remember walking out for my first race, and I have never seen so many people at a swim meet before. In the U.S., it's like my mom, my dad, somebody's cousin. You go to Sydney, Australia, the Olympics, and the stands are just full. I have never seen anything like it. And I remember right then and there, my legs felt like jello. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm nervous. And I had never been nervous before. Swimming never made me nervous. I was always so excited, and I couldn't wait to race. So I got behind the blocks, and I tried to compose myself as best as possible. And I dove into the pool, and the girl next to me took out the butterfly super, super fast. And I was like, whoa, I don't normally do that, but I'm at the Olympics and I'm supposed to win a gold medal. So I got to keep up with this girl. So then I started doing my butterfly really, really fast. And by the time we got done with the butterfly, I was like, oh my gosh, I think she thought that was just the 100 fly. Like, we have another 300 to go here, okay? So I'm like, whew, I never take out my butterfly that quickly. So then I got to the backstroke. I'm like, that was pretty tiring, okay? But try to compose yourself, stay, I'm in great shape right now. And you have so much energy that you made the Olympic team, you're at the Olympics. Then I remember getting to the breaststroke, and that's my weakest of the 4 strokes. And I was like, okay, just stay strong in your breaststroke. And I started like seeing like girls out of the corner of my eye like go past me. I was like, oh, this is not good. And I just remember feeling so fatigued and so tired. And by the time I got to the freestyle, I was like, is there a lifeguard on deck? Like, I do not feel good right now. Like, this is the hardest race ever. And I remember, you can kind of see yourself where you are amongst, your race. And I thought I was third. I'm like, okay, well, third's good. Third's a medal. That's bronze. Like, everybody's been talking about medals. And I remember coming into the wall, and I was like so tired. And I was like, that was not a great race, but hopefully I'll get third. And I touched and I looked up and it said, Sandeno, Kaitlin, USA, 4th. And I was like, oh, that's not a medal. And I was crushed. I was devastated. And, I started to cry. And swimming has never made me cry before. My parents were very like, swimming should never make you cry. The only tears you should ever have are tears of joy and just excitement, and never tears of disappointment. It's just a race. It's just a sport. But I got out of the pool and I was crying. And I wrote this in my journal, I felt that I had let the country down. And what had happened was that this outside noise of other people predicting that I was going to win a medal got into my head, right? Then I started doing things that just wasn't me. I was swimming another girl's race. I took out the butterfly too strong or too fast. I didn't stay in my own lane. And I got to the warm down pool, and my coach was trying to console me, and I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just so upset, and I just wanted my time to kind of take it all in and reflect. And a teammate of mine came up to me, and a lot of you will know this famous name, Amanda Beard, somebody that I have always looked up to, and she's from my area, and I grew up swimming against her. She's like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, Amanda, I just got 4th. She's like, well, what's wrong? I was like, Amanda, I just got 4th. And she asked me again. I was like, she's not listening to me. I'm like, Amanda, I just got 4th in that race. And she's like, you're 17 years old, and only 3 people in this world can beat you in the 400 IM. I was like, I felt so silly. I felt so, I was ashamed a little bit of my behavior. I felt immature. And that's what I was kind of starting this with, is like taking a step back and really realizing what I had accomplished. Here I am, 17 years old, first Olympics in my entire life. I just got 4th in this race. That was, one of the hardest ones I will finish for. And I was disappointed the way I swam the race, but at the same time, I stepped up and I got 4th in the world. And right then and there, my whole mentality about swimming changed. It's not about what place I was getting, what everybody else was talking about, because you know what? That is uncontrollable. You cannot control the uncontrollable. The people that you're racing against, they're on their own. They're in their own lane. They put in their time, their hard work, and their effort, and their height, and their muscles. You know what I mean? Like, I can't control that, but I can control me. So we're in this time of uncertainty that we don't have any control over. What we can focus on is ourselves and how we can be the best version of ourselves. And I encourage you and I challenge you to take this time where we, are out of routines and things are different and we don't get to get in the pool and we don't get to see our teammates. I challenge you to take this time to work on being the best version of yourself and controlling what's going up here, because this is extremely powerful. Once you get this right, the whole body, heart, mind, everything syncs up and you're going to be unstoppable. So I challenge you to take this time to really put it out there that you're going to think positive thoughts. Every day, think of something that you're grateful for. I like to think of like the silver lining of the day. Like, what was the best thing that has come out of the situation? How can we grow from this? How can we be better from this? So I just think if we can work on being our best versions of ourselves and knowing that we can't control the uncontrollables, this is a way that we can improve as human beings, and we can improve on inspiring and encouraging each other, which I think is so amazing. Now, here we all are today in this group setting where myself and Rowdy will be encouraging you. And I just think that it's a pretty special time where we can kind of slow down, This is what I call a speed bump when there's an obstacle, or if it's an injury, an illness, or something that, kind of slows you down. It's a speed bump. So we're in a little bit of a speed bump right now, but it doesn't mean we can't keep moving forward. And so that is my inspiration for you, is just to never, ever give up. Control what's going on up here. And remember, there's only so much that you do have control over, and that's what you need to be focusing on. So I'm sending you well wishes and positive vibes and all of the good. Like, take good care of each other, but take good care of yourself. From Newport Beach, California, and I'm so thrilled to be with you all today.
Woo! Thank you, Kaitlin. So awesome. Thank you for sharing your inspiring words. You are an inspiration to swimmers and parents and coaches, and you offer such great perspective. And I think your story and focusing on yourself is so important right now. Now, if you guys have questions, or maybe you've already stated a question, go ahead and repaste it. And maybe if you have a specific question for Rowdy or Kaitlin, direct who the question is for. Rowdy, Kaitlin, if you see a question that's addressed to you,
I just saw one.
Go for it.
So this would be a question for both Kaitlin and I'm assuming. What was your favorite swimming moment? Well, for me, I'll start. For me personally, obviously, it was the 100-meter freestyle in Los Angeles, the individual event I won the gold medal, because just the fact that it had been all of a sudden a 4-year journey that turned into an 8-year journey. So for me, it came to an end with that gold medal. Again, I will say that for me, I learned a lot more from the journey than actually winning the gold medal. But certainly that was the highlight of my career. From a swimming standpoint, I already mentioned Kaitlin's race, but I think the greatest race in Olympic history that I've ever witnessed was the 400 freestyle relay in Beijing for men when Jason Lezak anchored it. I think that's a sort of an obvious choice, but if you ever YouTube it or Google it or whatever and look at it, it's pretty special.
I just saw a question that I loved, and it says, what's a race you wish you could rewatch live and not know how it will turn out? So mine, that was a really, so when you say what's your favorite swimming moment, and this, it's actually the same. So my 400 IM in 2004 was one of my, it's my favorite, most proud moment in my swimming career. In 2000, I got fourth, as I shared, and the girl that beat me, Yana Klitschkova, beat me by 7.5 seconds. 4 years later, after going through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of speed bumps, a lot of injuries, a lot of fighting sickness and illness, and quite frankly, just wanting to give up, I was in a race of a lifetime with Yana Klitschkova, who is considered unbeaten, and she was the defending champion, world record holder. I mean, she was the real deal. And it came down to the very, very end, and I got silver by 12/100ths of a second. But I was stuck at a plateau for 4.5 years. And all I wanted to do was break 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Like, literally, that's all I wanted to do. It wasn't about getting first, second, third, fourth. It was like, go your best, do your best, break 440, because I've been stuck there. So when I looked up, I saw Sandeno, Kaitlin, USA, second. I was like, okay, all right. And then I'm like, wait, I was like making sure that I was looking at the right lane to match the right, lane on the scoreboard. And I saw my time, and I went 4:34 after being stuck at 4:40 for so long. And I just lost it. I started jumping up and down and celebrating, and people thought that I like won. It's like, no, you got silver. And I was like, no, I'm so excited. I just broke shattered this plateau that I was stuck at for so long. And that to me was like my personal gold medal. So that's like my number one swimming memory in my mind. But it's such a rad race. And of course, Rowdy is just doing an exceptional job commentating the whole, the feedback for the whole race, because we were literally neck and neck. And I would love to watch that race and not know who's going to win, because it literally, you can't tell. Like, she beats you by a fingernail. I always joke I'm 5'7" and she's 6'2", so there's my 12/100ths of a second. But it's the most surreal and pretty incredible swimming memory that I have in my life, and one that I would love to watch not knowing.
Awesome. A lot of other questions. If you guys see one that you want to answer, jump in.
So yeah, Ferris, here's one for both of us from Heya. Zahar, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who is one of the friendliest people you ever met during your sport? Well, I'll start again. So for me, obviously, the amazing woman that's with me today is one of the friendliest people I've ever met. But if you go back, Tracy Calkins is probably the friendliest person I've ever seen in the sport, where absolutely not one person I've ever met disliked her. She is that amazing. Also one of the greatest swimmers in history. And then Kaitlin Sandeno, from a current standpoint, is also just incredibly friendly.
Thank you. I would say, and I'm sure Rowdy would agree with this, that our sport has exceptional human beings.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really proud of. And not only, are they great in the pool, I think they have just their head screwed on right. They're very hardworking and self-motivated and diligent. And most times, I know when I was at USC, they said that swimmers have the best GPAs. So very intelligent human beings as well that go on to do great things in their lives afterwards. And I mean, there's been I have the best teammates, and like Rowdy said, the teammates that you make through this sport is going to be your lasting memories that, you'll never forget. And for me, my Olympic roommate for both Olympics was Diana Munns, and she's just like the most friendly, upbeat, most outgoing person. So I'm proud to be a swimmer and affiliated with such great human beings in this sport.
So, Kaitlin, here's a question. I think maybe we were just talking about it before we came on, and I think this is a common question as I'm reading through these. So just some tips on how to stay in shape when we're out of water. That's a common question right now.
Absolutely.
Do you want to tackle that first?
Yeah, I mean, I can share what I've been doing. I'm not the expert. Actually, my husband is. He's in the health and wellness industry. The first thing that I think that you really can control right now, because I know it's a little bit more challenging, is making sure that you're treating your body well with nutrition. I think people are it's like a joke that, we're eating so much, we're eating more often, and we find comfort in food. But that is something that you can really control right now, is controlling your nutrition, what you're consuming and putting into your body. So obviously I'm all about moderation. I'm like an 80-20. I'm healthy like 80% of the time. But it's something that I would really like to motivate you to, is just be aware of what you're feeding your body, because that is how the fuel, and that's how you're taking care of yourself. Great hydration. Make sure that you're not getting dehydrated during this time. And something too that for me, I know I'm getting more sleep. We're home more, and I don't have to get up as early. And I think that is huge, especially for our younger athletes out there that are, growing and have growth spurts coming. Get that sleep right now. And as far as the physical aspect of it, for me specifically, we're blessed that we have an exercise bike in our room. It's an Aerodyne. So we have arms are going, legs are going. So it's a really hard workout. We're sweating, we're drenched back there. And then we just get creative. Like literally before this, we were in the back alley, and, we had some weights and some stretch cords, and we're tying it up to the carport outside of our house. So just using what you have. But what's so great right now is that the internet is just full of workout ideas right now. But be smart. Like, I know a lot of young swimmers, I don't know if running is the best thing for you. I know it's easy to get outside and go out and about, but it's a lot of pounding on your bones, your knees, your joints. But again, that's up to your coaches and your physical therapists and whatnot. I personally don't enjoy running that much, so that's not my favorite. I think doing yoga or Pilates, which is something that you could do through, YouTube stations right now, get a mat, put it, on the floor. I think I've seen Katie Hawk has been doing these awesome workouts. She asked me to join one. I'm like, I'm busy today, but I'll be doing hopefully one with her in the near future. So there's a lot of resources out there. You just need to tap into them, and you have to take ownership. It's really easy to be like, I'm going to watch a movie instead. So and I find some days I'm more motivated than others, but that would be my 2 cents. Rowdy, you probably have some good input on that too.
Well, no, I'll just say that you're right, Kaitlin. I think as swimmers, we are so focused on staying in shape, being out of the water. Everybody's doing the kinds of things to stay aerobically fit, and that's all you really need to do. Think about this. This is what I've been told. I don't know this to be factual, but I was told that every day you're out of the water, it takes about a half a day to get the feel for the water back. So, for example, if you're out of the water for 2 weeks, it's going to take you about a week to get the feel for the water back. So let's say we're all, we stop this in the middle of March, and you're not going to get back until middle of June. So that's 3 months. So it's going to take you about 6 weeks to get back into it, and then you'll be back into it. So this is a time where it's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to be upset about it. And it's okay to kind of, I think you said it in your talk earlier, it's okay to kind of reset, to rejuvenate your emotions, your mental well-being, because your mental well-being is so important to be good in swimming physically. If you don't have good mental well-being, if you're not mentally stable as far as getting back in the water, you're not physically going to be stable. So this is a good chance to kind of just push the reset button and get back into it.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ferris, there was a question for you. What inspired you to do this?
Sure, I'll hop in. I think I mentioned it in the intro, but the reality is, we're away from the pool. We're at home. We're not really doing anything else. So how do we bring the world together? Because, right now I think there was a Pro Series meet going on this weekend.
Yeah, a mission.
People were looking forward to trials. We wanted to hear Kaitlin and Rowdy's voice anyway at this time. And so because we recognize that a lot of things have been shut down, a lot of people miss out on their swim banquets. A lot of people had competitions that they were looking forward to. And this is an opportunity not just to perform athletically, but to see other people that share the same passion and are working towards similar goals as yourself. So we figured, hey, let's put something together. We know that everyone's going to be at home, and let's dress up a little bit, because another point is most people are not, dressing up in a suit and a dress, putting makeup on. So let's try and make it more creative and make it more fun.
Perfect. So cool.
Something just came in from Pulaski. It says, anyone been in touch with Allison Schmidt? Have you talked to Allison lately, Kaitlin?
Yes, actually, she reached out to me because it was Bob's birthday. Was that last week or the week before? She said, "Can you send a video for Bob?" But yeah, I mean, she's dedicated.
She's committed. Okay, good.
I do see her moving forward, and like they commented, she was swimming really well again, and this is something, with my position with ISL and recruiting for new teams this season, I spoke to a lot of seniors that didn't get their NC2As, right? And so what I'm trying to encourage them to think about is that silver lining is that now you have another year to get stronger, fitter, more motivated, more experience. This can be actually the biggest blessing in disguise. Yes, we are athletes. We like structure. We like plans. We like keeping to those plans. But imagine if you could just, like Rowdy said, reset, refocus, keep this right. You have a whole nother year to be better. So that is kind of, for Allison, obviously she's already a legend, and she, like we said, like this will probably, I don't want to speak for her, but could possibly be her last, Olympics. But she has, like anybody else, time to improve. Like I said during my talk, this is a time where we can really work on being the best versions of ourselves, because we have all this more time to do so.
One of the questions was about seeing Katie Ledecky, I think, in one of her first Olympics. And Rowdy, I would want to expand this question for you. You've known and seen so many incredible athletes: Kaitlin, Michael Phelps, Ledecky, other athletes from other countries. What do you think is that differentiator when you have an athlete that just stands out amongst already incredible athletes?
Well, it's funny because, I got that question too. Watching Kaitlin back in 2012, that was the first time I remember watching her at one of the pro swims. I mean, what did I say?
Kaitlin. Katie, Kaitlin,
Did I say Kaitlin?
I was like, I was way done then.
Kaitlin, Katie, Catherine. Well, it's funny you said that's a good way to jump in, because the first time I saw Katie, I called her Catherine because her name is Catherine Ledecky. So on the heat sheet, it was Catherine, right? So the whole race, the whole 800, she won it. I was with Ted Robinson. I'll never forget it. The whole race, I was calling her Catherine Ledecky. I go, boy, this little Catherine Ledecky, she's going to be pretty good one day. Again, this is just my humble opinion, but I think she's the greatest female swimmer in history. For what she has done over the last 8 years, nothing like this has ever been done in our sport. Even with Michael. I mean, obviously Michael's the greatest swimmer, period, in history. Nobody's even close. But even Michael didn't have the kind of dominance that Katie had during that 5, 6, 7 year stretch. So she is the one that kind of thrives on working out, thrives on failing miserably, as I think her coach Bruce Gimmel told me one time. He said she loves to fail. She pushes herself to fail every single workout, and she's got a great love affair with the water. And I think that's a big part of it. You have to love what you do, and she loves swimming. I don't think you have to love it every single second. But the key word is consistency, right? You have to consistently love what you do. And Katie and Kaitlin are both like that.